All right, welcome back. Thanks very much for staying with us here on SABC News. Well, Rotary International is a humanitarian service organization which brings together business and professional leaders in order to provide community service, promote integrity and advance goodwill, peace and understanding in the world. Let's talk more on this. We're now joined by Rotary International Director-Elect Patrick Daniel Chisanga. Sir, a warm welcome to you. Thank you very much for joining us here on SABC News.
Thank you, Flora.
Let's start.
Thank you for the warm welcome.
You know, we have this wrong perception. You've said it's a wrong perception that, you know, Rotary is for these wealthy men that come together and then do some goodwill. That's not what Rotary is about. Talk to us what, you know, Rotary is and what it was established for, but also your vision, you know, as the incoming director. Thank you,
Flora. First of all, before I discuss Rotary, my conscience is not clear to proceed without paying my condolences to the people of South Africa, and in particular the families of those young children I've just seen on the set who have lost their lives in that unfortunate event in the Eastern Cape. It's really heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. On a brighter note, I also saw that there was a cleansing ceremony of the Zulu nation, the royalty, and I wish to, on behalf of Rotary International, congratulate His Majesty. Rotary is a global organization comprising business and community leaders. In a nutshell, what we do is to try and raise resources across the world in various ways and forms for the sole purpose of assisting the underprivileged members of our communities across the world. And Rotary is now in our 117th year, having been formed in 1905 in the United States. 3 years ago, Rotary decided that Africa is ripe enough to be given its own status as a zone out of the 17 zones of the Rotary world. And so Africa now is a zone on its own. And I'm privileged to stand on the threshold of becoming director of Zone 22, which is the whole of Africa. All the 54 countries in Africa become my responsibility. Africa has been a beneficiary of Rotary's goodwill and Rotary's work for the last 100 years. The first club was formed in this very city, in Johannesburg, 100 years ago. And if you look back on what we have done as Rotarians, working with governments across Africa to improve the standards, quality of life of people, our focus is the underprivileged. Our focus is to support peace and goodwill. Our focus is to promote education, good health, and all the things that human beings would want to see in their lives. And so my role as a director for Africa is to monitor, to motivate, and to ensure that we have projects going on across Africa. Within the mandate that I have described. I'll give you an example. A month ago, Rotary International, in partnership with a couple of our stakeholders, decided to allocate $6 million to Zambia, not because it's my home country, but they competed for it. And this is for the eradication of malaria. You know, in Zambia, a lot more people died because of malaria than even HIV/AIDS. So it's a major challenge for humanity.
Let's talk about your involvement with the youth. As we were off air, I was talking about the fact that I was, in fact, part of Rotary, the younger wing, which is called Interact. And I know that, you're passing on these particular skills and acknowledgement of, assisting those who are without, and you're passing that on to the younger generation. Are you continuing in that sort of work? And how strong is that wing, that youth wing, I'll call it that, in terms of going out there and assisting, much like, we did in our days?
First of all, Flo, let me disclose to you that I started my Rotary career, if you like, as an interactor when I was in secondary school. And I was very delighted to hear that you were also at one time an interactor. And I want an agreement between you and I that you're coming back into Rotary. Because we need journalists at your level to play their key role in Rotary. Rotary has got 3 structures within it. There's Rotary itself, the organization for the people of my age and below, but there are no age limits anymore. But in terms of organization, we start at Interact level, which is the organization we've structured for school-going children to teach them the tenets of service, of goodwill, being good human citizens, and so on. And even at that school level, and I was president of my club, as you were, Flo, we carried out projects. I'm sure you did too.
We did, yes.
For the community. Then at the next level is what we call Rotaract. These young people in the colleges, in the universities, and those that are, making their first steps in their careers, young people, usually goes up to about 30, thereabouts. And then, of course, from there, you can mature into Rotary itself. The principles are the same. It's focusing on service above self. You see the pin that I wear, it says service above self. That is what is uppermost in the philosophy, in the mindset of Rotary International and us as individual Rotarians. Service above self.
A lot of, there were a lot of challenges for many organizations during COVID-19, funding cut for many people. Many of the organizations that were, recipients of certain funding. Did that issue of COVID-19, did that affect Rotary as a whole? And how much did it affect the organization?
Absolutely. Anything that destabilizes human nature, Rotary is concerned. Our first concern was to eradicate polio from the face of the world. Polio was crippling children across the world. And in 1985, we took a decision. That's the year I joined Rotary, by the way, Rotary proper. We took a decision and promised the children of the world, but by the year 2000, we will have eradicated polio from the face of the earth. We've done very well with the support of good-natured institutions and individuals like Bill Gates, for instance. The Bill Gates Foundation have supported us stoutly in the fight against polio, which we have just about eradicated. There are a couple of elements. Recently, you might have heard, there was a case in Mozambique, a case in Malawi, and they were traced back to Pakistan. I think somebody came on a plane with it. So we hold hands with the other similar-minded organizations. For instance, on polio, as I said, Bill Gates, WHO, and even governments, the government of South Africa and governments across Africa. We hold hands to work together. More recently now, we've had the issue of COVID. We are working tirelessly. We've taken it on board to hold hands again with civic government institutions. More recently, we went into an agreement with USAID on a project which is being called COVAX. Now, COVAX is a joint project between Rotary and USAID. And we're going to join forces. They're going to put in a lot of resources. We'll put in our human resources to inoculate and make sure that as many people as possible are vaccinated against COVID.
All right. All right, well, it was a pleasure having you and on the show, and I'll take you up on what you've decided is my journey.
I will instruct one of my officers here. They will approach you.
All right, thanks very much for talking to us, and congratulations on your new position, Patrick Daniel Chisanga, who is a Rotary International Director-Elect.